Toya was on the way to the king's palace with Duke Albert, and he learned that the king was most likely poisoned by nobles who wished to marry the princess to become the next monarch of the kingdom. Albert wanted Toya to use his spell recovery to heal the king and save his life. When Toya and Albert arrived at his brother's castle, they were told by an arrogant noble that the assassin had been caught. Then the king's daughter cried, and Albert opened the door to the king's bedroom. Toya then used his recovery spell on the king. Toya was able to save the king's life, and Albert introduced Toya to his brother. The king thanked him for his help, and the king's daughter Yumina immediately fell in love with Toya. But Toya was into older women, and he got nervous around the pretty Charlotte. Charlotte is a court mage to the king, and she wanted to learn more about magic from Toya. Then Yumina thanked Toya, and she noticed that Toya reacted differently to her than to Charlotte. After that, Albert and his brother wanted to find out who had poisoned him. General Leon said the king passed out after drinking wine during lunch. Toya had a hunch as to how the king was poisoned. The king then wanted to speak to the ambassador. When Ambassador Olga appeared, Toya immediately noticed that they knew each other. Toya suspected that Olga wasn't the assassin who poisoned the king, so Toya wanted to see the crime scene, and he used his search spell to find the poison. Followed Toya knew immediately how the king was poisoned, and he had also called the suspect to him. So everyone gathered at the crime scene, and Count Balsa was called. He couldn't believe the king was still alive. However, Toya said that the culprit is among the person in the room. Count Balsa tried to blame Olga for the poisoning, and he said that Olga's wine was poisoned. Toya then showed a new bottle of wine. General Leon drank it, and he confirmed that there was no poison in the wine. Then Toya poured the wine into His Majesty's glass, and he asked Count Balsa to drink it. He refused to drink the wine, and Leon forced him to drink from the glass. As Count Balsa drank the wine, he thought he was dying. Toya was able to prove that the poison was in the glass. Count Balsa was the culprit, and Toya prevented Count Balsa from running away. Then the king thanked Toya again, and Yumina suddenly stood up. She told her parents that she had decided to marry Toya. Toya couldn't believe it, and didn't know what was going on. Toya said that he can't get married yet, and that he family didn't know him. The king said that Yumina had magical eyes, and could see the true character of each person. Then Toya learned that Yumina is only 12. Toya said that he and Yumina are way too young to get married. The king said that the king's family usually get married by the age of 15. Toya said that in his country, marriage is only allowed from the age of 18 at the earliest. Toya had no more arguments to present, so Toya was engaged to the king's daughter Yumina. Later, God calls Toya on his phone. God congratulated him on his engagement with the princess. The next day, the other girls found out about Toya's engagement to the princess. Everyone was jealous, and Yumina introduced herself to the girls. They also learned that Yumina would like to go on adventures with Toya in the future. Later on, Toya and his girls were on their way to an assignment. Yumina wanted to show Toya that she isn't useless, and she summoned powerful wolves. Toya was impressed by the summoning magic, and the wolves attracted monsters. Then Yumina shot a monster with her bow, and the others also started fighting. Toya and his girls fought the strong monsters, and they easily defeated the monsters. In the process, Toya and the other girls learned that Yumina is very strong and talented. After their fight, Toya was worried since his group is made up of only girls. He said he's afraid people will talk bad about him because he only has pretty girls in his group. The girls blushed when they heard Toya call them pretty. After that, they returned to the city, and Toya used summoning magic. Toya summoned a white tiger, and Yumina said that the white monarch is among the highest-ranking monsters. In order for Toya to make a pact with the white tiger, Toya had to prove his strength. He then showed the white monarch his magic powers. Toya had too much power, and the white tiger fell over, so the white monarch accepted Toya as his ruler. Then Toya gave the tiger the name Kohaku. Toya said that his form as a giant white tiger causes him problems with other people in the town. As a result, Kohaku turned into a cute little kitten. The girls loved Kohaku, and everyone wanted to hug Kohaku. In the days that followed, Toya and his friends were assigned to investigate a castle that houses many slimes. The girls were all depressed because they hate sticky slimes. Toya looked forward to the assignment, as he would like to see if the slimes decomposed the girls' clothes. Then we see Toya. They were looking around the castle, and they were looking for valuable research information of a slime explorer. When they looked in the basement, they found green slimes. Lindsay wanted to burn the slimes, but Toya stopped her, because she would destroy the whole castle with his fire magic. Following this, the slimes approached, and Toya noticed that the slimes are bound to certain places. When Toya and his friends wanted to go upstairs, more slimes appeared. Toya learned that the white slimes produce lotion and the produced lotion of the slimes are harmless. Then the girls and Toya slide down the stairs through the lotion. Kohaku held Toya and saved him. The girls were all below and being attacked by the green slimes. The slimes decomposed the girls' clothes. Toya rescued his friends and used this spell gate to teleport them. Then Toya saw the half-naked girls and he stared at the girls. Toya enjoyed his view of the girls who were almost naked. So Toya blushed, and he was slapped by Elsa when she realized that Toya was staring at them. After that, they continued to look around the castle and they discovered strange statues. Then Toya looked at the statue and he spotted bust slimes. They attached to women's chest and mimicked them. Following this, the slimes jumped onto Yumina and she instantly defeated the slimes. After that, Toya found a secret room of the Slime Explorer. He discovered a book from the dead slime explorer who lived in the castle. Toya was reading his diary, and the Slime Explorer wrote that he made his dream true with the slimes. Then slimes appeared, and Yumina told Toya that the slimes were transforming into something. The slimes turned into Toya's friends, and were naked. Toya was looking at the naked bodies, and the girls tried to cover his view of the slimes. In the end, the girls burned down the castle and destroyed everything. So Toya was teaching how the castle was burned down, and he thought, it is funny that the slime researcher wanted to use his slimes to create a harem full of girls. The next day, Toya is seen walking around town with Kohaku. They saw that Yahe had found a lost little child. The girl just cried and she didn't want to tell Yahe her name, so Kohaku tried to reveal the girl's name. Kohaku learned that the little girl's name was Lin, and Toya couldn't locate the girl's mother in his search field. Then Toya tried to expand his search field with his phone. He found Lin's mother with his phone. As a result, Toya was able to help the girl find her mother. When the girl was reunite with her mother, Yahi wanted to know how he could find the mother with his phone. Yahi learned that by using the search spell and combining it with his cell phone, Toya can find anyone if he knows their name and appearance. Later, Toya is seen in his room combining a spell with his phone. Toya could see through the wall with his phone and watched Lindsay, who was in her underwears. He couldn't believe that he could see Lindsay's panties and he took screenshots of her. When Lindsay was dressed, she sought out Toya. Toya got scared and she told Toya that she wanted to learn new spells. Unfortunately, the spells were written in an ancient writing that she couldn't read. Toya created glasses that automatically translate ancient writing. Lindsay immediately wanted to learn the new spell and asked Toya to help her with it. Lindsay failed to cast the new spell and fell over from exhaustion. Toya then creates a spell, because he was worried about Lindsay. When she ran out of magic, Toya transferred some of his magic power to her body. Lindsay thanked Toya and continued to learn the new spell. Unfortunately, it failed again, and Toya gave her some advice to learn her new spell. Toya explained her methods of learning new spells. Then Lindsay tried to follow Toya's advice, and she managed to learn the bubble bomb spell. Lindsay managed to cast a new spell and thanked Toya for the great help. In the days that followed, Toya was walking in the town, and he saw Elsa admiring a dress. Toya talked with her, and she thought the dress wouldn't suit her. Toya said she would look really pretty in the dress, and he persuaded her to try the dress on. They went to the store together, and Toya bought the dress and gave it to Elsa as a present. When Elsa told the other girls that Toya gifted her a dress, the other girls all wanted that Toya buy them a dress too. Then they received a letter, and Toya learned that he will get a title of nobility. Toya wanted to refuse, but it would cause a big trouble, and he was forced to accept his title of nobility.